In this part 3 of our tutorial on how to use our console calculator for creating nice console enclosures, we will take a look at the sides. And the sides are essential because they keep everything together. Take a look at the C30 from the website. You can see that we have now walked through the top plate, the back side, the front side, also the bottom. But the sides is where all these things are coming together by partly the fact that we have a bolt here which is entering into the housing profiles, and also that the sides has some cavities for hosting the side plates so that they are not sliding around. Okay, and the sides are also kind of complex. You can see a lot of numbers for the sides. So I'm going to walk you through how to adjust these numbers. Again, as we did all the way through, we are basing what we are doing on existing files for a C30, downloaded from SKAARHOJ GitHub repository. And we have looked at the backside, front, blah, blah, blah. So we go to the side left. So in side left, we have logos, we have cutouts for jacks on an Arduino board, etc. And since none of them are really important for what we are doing right now, I think I would like to actually discard of them. So now I have all the components left, which is important. And that are we have the screw holes, we have cavities for the top plate, the front plate, the back side, the bottom plate. And then we have this hole, which is essentially cutting away a part of the otherwise rectangular front panel. And they all correspond to numbers from this spreadsheet. So the first thing we do is, like for the front, we need to set the height and the width for the whole front plate. And I think it would be beneficial if we could see these numbers side by side. So I think I'll adjust my screen like this. So the height, 55, the width, 132. And then I will adjust like that. Okay. Then we need to place the screw holes 5.2 millimeters from sides in all corners except the lower right. And by the way, as something we must do in all cases here is that the whole spreadsheet is assuming that we are using an origin of the coordinate system in lower left corner 0.0. So we also have to make sure that that doesn't or didn't change when we change the coordinates. Well, 5.2 from sides in all corners except lower right. So we take this one, 5.2, no problem. This one, it's 5.2 in the X direction. In the Y direction, it might be different. It's not totally clear to say. So basically, we know that it's the profile is 55 millimeters high. So what we simply do is we punch in here 55 minus 5.2. Voila, fantastic. So then we take this one. It's the same story. 55 minus 5.2, and these two guys are both 5.2 millimeters left of the side of the profile. So we do the same as just before, but this time for the X coordinate, we know that the width of the plate is 132. So we type in 132 minus 5.2 millimeters. That's it. Okay. So the cavities for holding the plates, and that's this cavity, this cavity, this cavity, and actually those right here, and this guy, they should all be 1.1, and the depth of all those are 1.1. Great. Of course, that didn't change with the new dimensions, but now we are gonna change a lot of things. The cavity for the top plate, the X coordinate, is 66. Okay, let's go. That one, 66. The next value, 51.95. The next value is the height, it's 4.10. And then we have the width, which is 115.80, like that. And that was the cavity for the top plate. And like this, you go on with the cavity for the back plate. And my guess is that it almost didn't change. 2.3, 27.50, that was a bit different. So 27.50. The height of the cavity is 38.80 and the width is 2.60. And then for the front plate we do the same. The X direction 129.70. We have 32.60. We go to the height, which is 28.80 and the width is 2.60. Yes. Okay, so I now calculated all those cavities for holding the plates. Now comes a little more complex part, which deals with the cavities for the bent bottom plate. And first of all, I'm going to place the lower right screw hole, and the Y coordinate is 15.22. So I need to set that 15.20, sorry, like that. And now it tells me place a curved slot with an inner radius of so and so and so appropriately around the hole. I think we're just going to wait with that for a moment, but you'll see what I mean, because we have cavity 1 for the bottom plate, 2 and 3. Oh, no, sorry. I just jumped right over this section, the cutoff hole. The cutoff hole is this guy. All right, this guy. Nah, I don't think I actually got him. Right there. Yes, this is the cutoff hole because it cuts off this whole section. So, because we are not going to need this part of aluminum, so it's cutting this away. And here we need an X coordinate of 74. Y coordinate is 4.25. The height is 1 millimeter. So that's no change, but it's the width, which is 118.43. And then, very important, you need to set the angle right, and the angle is 4.93 in this case, like that. Okay, and then it tells us to place the curved slot. And so what is the curved slot? Take the magnifying glass and you will see this is the curved slot, because if we just have this cut-off hole, we get a very sharp edge right there. So why not place a curved slot so that we have the machinery at SKAARHOJ make this corner a little bit more pleasant. And there you go. So basically, if you know exactly what all these measures are for, it's a straightforward process to set the dimensions of all these cavities. And now we can sort of do the same here. We say cavity 1, I think this is cavity 1. It's 12.25, and now I'm just going to enter these numbers. Actually, this is exactly the same, I could see. And then I think cavity 2 is this guy. So I'm just going to punch in those numbers. There you go. And cavity 3 is the big one, and we are punching in these numbers for that. And you can almost do that without thinking too much, just typing. But finally, before we are done, you need to make sure that you take a closer look at how these are meeting each other. So, in fact, this is what is said right here. Manually adjust the length of the 3 cavities above to meet fully, starting with length of cavity 3. So the cavity 3, this guy, we simply extend it to, let's try 56. Sorry, that was the height. That was wrong. And also, I feel I should be sure that this is the right one I'm dealing with. Yes, it is the right one, no problem. Okay, so we zoom in and we set the width of this cavity, which is called the length in the spreadsheet. Let's set it to 102. Okay, 102 may be sort of enough. So to make these meet fully, we select this guy and we simply extend it a little bit. So now we should have a nice overlap so that the plate will fit, and then we could scroll sidewards and then a little bit up, and we do the same here. So maybe we simply extend this, and we could also decide to change this to 103 maybe to make them overlap just perfectly. And now we should actually check the other corner, because setting the length of cavity number 3 is not only a question of, okay, I'm having some difficulty zooming out now. Maybe I need to select the zoom tool. Thank you. So we should check if it doesn't extend in a bad way here, so that's fine. Okay, and then is this it? Well, we have now done this for the left side of the enclosure. So to create a right side, we would now save this, and then we would save it with another file name. What you do is you select everything, and then you mirror the whole thing, and it tells us to mirror, the x-coordinate to mirror around is 66. And if I'm not mistaken, this is exactly the center of the front plate, so that is going to be just 566 is exactly the half of 132. And therefore we go up here, selection, mirror, and we say mirror horizontally, yes please. Center of the front panel, yes please. It even calculated this for us. There we go. And now we have the right side as well. So this is basically how you construct all the 6 necessary front panels for creating one of our console enclosures. You also need to order a few extra things. You need to make sure you get the right assembly kit, which is essentially the 8 bolts that hold the housing profiles together. And you also need the right length of the housing profile. So this is the final information you get in the spreadsheet, that the length of the housing profiles is 200, which is sort of also clear from the original width you have selected for the whole casing. So have fun if you dare to create your own enclosures like I just showed you could do.